And it leads into this kind of, I build it as the big five. There's some research done recently by a firm called Gartner. They're a big global consulting firm. And through the pandemic, they polled, I think it was about 10 or 20,000 employees, about 10% in professional services, but this was for everybody. And I think everybody was feeling the same kind of things. They came up with 5 key areas that as employers we need to focus on, because it's at the top of everyone's priority list in terms of what drives engagement. Now, if you've got a team working in a hybrid way, you want those people working remotely to feel engaged. And do you know what? If you've got people in the office, I would say don't be fooled just because they're there. They might not be there because of you. They might be there because of some of their colleagues. So we need to really focus on this kind of stuff to make sure that we've got engagement within the firm. So the 5 things they came up with were, number 1, radical flexibility. This is showing everybody that you trust them and they are autonomous. In other words, you are trying to facilitate this sense of autonomy. Bit of coaching, you get mastery. Anyone that's seen Daniel Pink, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, the top 3 things for motivation. So if they feel autonomous, if they feel that you're not micromanaging, actually that's great, and you can give them that flexibility. They look for personal growth, and this is why Matt and Gordon have set up the Armadillo Academy, because it is absolutely front and center of everybody's mind, but absolutely Gen Z millennials. They're thinking, you know, how can I develop as an individual? What are you going to do for me? Because if you invest in them, I'm not talking about technical training, ethics training, audit training. It's about thinking, well, what do you want to do? You know, what kind of things would you find interesting? Why don't we pay for them to do something completely random? Anything you like. Some people have said, we'll give you an allowance. You can spend it any way you want. If you want to learn bricklaying or art, fantastic. That's the kind of business we are. And it might sound crazy and you think, well, how's that going to earn us money? I would simply say, you put that out there into the marketplace and you have people join you, that's saving you the recruitment fees, because other people are struggling thinking, how do we get individuals? I said to a firm the other day, I said, are you all struggling with, yeah, it's terrible, recruitment's awful. I said, fine, tell them you're going to get rid of timesheets. Everybody will be knocking at the door. So you could do it, but it's what you're prepared to do to get there. So something on personal growth is key. Gordon's going to talk a little bit later on about well-being, and it's a key focus there because people need to feel cared for. And it's the point that Cheryl made, you know, you've got to get that balance between cared for and checking in. And I think part of that is dominated by the conversation that you're having. What's the focus? Is it timekeeping? Is it deliverables for the client? Is it, what are you doing? How is life? How's work life? How's home life? Because what are your interests? The more you're talking about them and you're giving them a chance to express themselves, the less they feel micromanaged about, have I done this deliverable yet? Having a sense of shared purpose is enormous. I was at a conference recently with partners, and there's about 200 people in the room, and the whole focus was on how do we create a sense of purpose within our firm? And of course, traditionally, it's like, we just want to make money, help clients. We like people, accountants, we like people, we like helping people thrive. But fundamentally, if you want to be a partner, you're really there driving a profit-making machine. And that does not appeal to many people nowadays. So the younger generations coming through, they need to know what you stand for. They can join any firm to make money, that's a given. But to join your firm, maybe you need to create that sense of community by saying, but what we believe in is this. And you have an ESG policy that you really endorse. That's environmental, social, and governance, sort of corporate social responsibility, the new phrase for it, to say this is what we believe in. And if you join us, you know, you really stand by this. And wrapped up in all that is these deeper connections, you know, actually feeling understood. So be really clear, flexibility is not a functional thing. It looks like a functional thing. It's about, how do I get 40 hours into 7 days a week? You can do it anytime you like, as long as you hit the deadline. That's the operational constraint. But what I feel as an employee is, do you trust me? Do you trust me to get the job done? If you trust me, you don't care when I do the work, as long as I get it done by the deadline. And that comes across when you say, we've got a flexible policy. The more you say you want me in the office, the less I feel trusted. It's just my choice whether I come in or not. In terms of personal growth, how do people in your organization know that you value them? How do they know they're valued? How do you demonstrate that? How do you show that to them? In terms of this sort of being cared for, who demonstrates that? And it's quite interesting when we manage partners to think, well, can you tell me how you're demonstrating you care about your team? Because on the one hand, I'm flogging you to actually get the job done, and I want you to meet the budgets. On the other hand, I think I might start measuring retention by team and see if there's any interesting metrics. Because if people keep leaving a particular team, maybe they don't feel cared for. The sense of shared purpose is something that we work with certain clients. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important that you believe it. There's a lot of research been done. If you've got a strong sense of purpose, it doesn't have to be we want to save the world or cure poverty or all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be altruistic. It has to be believed by everybody in the business. You've got to work to it. Helps decision-making. That's the key thing. Operationally, it helps decision-making, and it has been proven to drive performance. And then finally, do people have a voice?